All right, hello, and welcome to Wood Fork Law. Welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking about, talking to all my fellow lawyers, and I'm going to be talking about how to go out on your own and start a new law practice. If you're working at a firm or if you're working for the government or something like that, and you want to start your own law practice, today I'm going to be talking about how to do it. I've been doing my own. I've had my own law firm for about 20 years now, exactly. Actually, I started practicing law in the year 2000, and I spent 2 years at the public defender's office, and then I opened up my own law firm in 2002, and I've been doing it ever since. So today I want to share 7 tips and 7 things that will help you if you want to open up your own law practice. Again, I knew I was going to open up my own law firm really since the day I graduated from law school. But, you may not have. You may have thought that you were always going to work for a firm, become partner, and it didn't happen. So now you want to go out on your own. So here's how you can do it. The number one thing to open up your law firm is get the right mindset, in the sense that the only thing that matters is getting clients. You don't have to worry about getting business cards. You don't have to worry about getting an office. You don't have to worry about anything else besides getting your first client. That's the only thing that matters. And that's kind of a different mindset between a lot of my friends and me also, to a certain extent. I did some preparation before I went out on my own, as far as like ordering business cards, I think, or something like that. But the only thing that matters is getting your first client. And there's a good book that I read many years after I'd been practicing law for myself in my own firm. I think it's called Ready, Fire, Aim. I'll put a link in the description, and I'll show it. But I forgot who the author was, but it's a good book as far as making you understand what's important when you work for yourself. And what's important is customers, it's clients, it's business. Nothing else matters besides business. And that is why, besides getting clients. And that's why a lot of times you'll see really, really smart lawyers, the guys who are like the top of their class in law school, you'll see that those people don't make good solo practitioners. They don't run their own law firms well, because they're super, super smart lawyers, but they don't understand how to get business. And again, the number one thing that you need to know is getting clients is your most important goal. And again, I'll link that book, Ready, Fire, Aim, in here, and that'll definitely tell you about how to kind of get that order right as far as what you're thinking about as far as getting clients. Because again, a lot of my friends, they want to get an office, they want to get an LLC, they want to get business cards. They want to get, the computer, a phone. I mean, I guess you do need that stuff, but again, that's secondary to having somebody saying, hey, we need you to represent us for a different legal issue. I think I was in practice for probably 2 weeks before I got my first legitimate client. And so, it happens pretty quick when you open up your own practice. And again, I was at the public defender's office for 2 years. So, when I went out on my own, people knew me already. And I'll talk about that as far as how you kind of can prepare people for the launch, I guess, of your practice. But once I went on my own and I had my own office and all that back in 2002, I got my first client after 2 weeks. So that's the number one tip. The number 2 is, when you go out on your own, you're going to be sending out about 2 weeks before you go on your own, before you open your doors or you hang your shingle. You're going to tell everybody that you know that you're opening up your own law practice and that you're open for business and you're ready to take on clients. Back in 2002, I sent out these like business announcements. They were like bigger than postcards, but they were things that you send in the physical mail. And I sent I think 500 out to all my friends and family, everybody here in Arizona, and I just announced, basically that was my announcement that I was opening up my practice. And so you send that out to everybody, and I guess now you send it out on all your social media. You let everybody know on your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Snapchat if you use it, to Twitter, all the social medias. You let everybody know that you're opening up your practice on this such and such a date, so that they know. And so then, and also of the people that you notify, make sure you have like a top 10 list of people that you want for sure to know that you're opening up your practice. And I call these like my golden 10 people. I still have these people kind of marked on all my lists or anything like that. But basically, find the 10 people in your Facebook or your Instagram or in your Rolodex, I guess. Find the 10 people who know the most people. So like some of your friends probably have 600 friends on Facebook, even if you may have 100, but make note of the people who know a lot of people, because that's how you're going to get business from. Somebody may not need a lawyer, but they may know somebody who does need a lawyer. So again, if you are friends with somebody who knows everybody, then those are the people you want to pay attention to. You want to make sure that they know that you're ready for business. And those are the people you take care of over the years, those hubs, those people who know everybody. And it's obvious, obviously, but it's something that, I learned a little bit later. But again, the people who just know the most people are the people you want to be friends with. And then second, another group of people who you want to pay particular attention to is other lawyers. The lawyers, your friends, the lawyers who are your friends in town are going to be probably your number one biggest source of referrals in your law practice. So make sure that you're friends with all your fellow lawyers. The reason why is because most of us, all of us really specialize in either one or two areas of law. I specialize in personal injury law, and I do some DUI work. But that's all I really know. And so whenever somebody calls me with a tax issue or contract, well, I know a little bit of contract, but the tax issue or a property issue or the mergers and acquisitions, if somebody calls me for that type of case, I don't have the expertise, so I have to refer it out to a lawyer who I know. And so people think that lawyers know everything, and so the person who needs a lawyer, they're going to call you thinking that you know everything, and you have to tell them, I don't, but I can get you a referral to somebody who does. So people are always going to be calling lawyers for legal help, whether they can help or not. So make sure you're friends with lawyers, especially lawyers, obviously, who are in your separate, in a different practice area. They're going to be your number one source of referrals. Similar to that, when you first start off practicing law, when you first week, first month, first couple months, try to get overflow work. Well, especially if you're a criminal defense lawyer. Like say you're watching this now and you're in the government, you're working as a prosecutor or a public defender, just like I was back in 2001, 2002. If you're watching this and you open up your own firm, and once you open up your firm and all your lawyer friends know that you just left the government, you just left the prosecutor's office or the public defender's office, they're going to know that you know your way around a courtroom. And so they're going to give you overflow work if they have small cases that they don't want to deal with. And also, and I hope this is still a thing, I don't know if it is for sure, but back when I first started, I got a lot of contract work from the lawyers who were in my building, who basically couldn't make a court appearance. Like say that they had to be they had two court appearances at the same time, and so they would ask me to go in on their behalf to one of them and ask for a continuance, or if it was a small case, I could just wrap up myself. But I got a lot of work like that for probably the first year when I first started my firm, and that's a really good. It's some money to keep your lights on. Back then, I think I was charging, I think $250 an hour, maybe, something like that. And so again, the lawyers would pay me, $500 to go down to court for 30 minutes. So that's a good way to make some cash when you first start off, is to have lawyer friends send you down for contract work. And by the way, this is number 3 on the list of top 7 things to start your own law firm. First one was to have the mindset that clients are the most important. Number 2 was to have your special people on your Facebook who know everybody. Number 3 was be friends with a lot of lawyers. And because lawyers are going to be the biggest source of referrals throughout your whole career. And so I guess number 4 is you can get the contract work or the overflow work from other lawyers in your building, which again assumes, or not assumes, but hopefully you're watching this at the public defender's office or the prosecutor's office, or even if you're watching this before you graduate from law school. If you can, try to get work at a public defender's office or a prosecutor's office so that you can get trial experience. You can learn how to try a case in front of a jury, before you're 26, 27 years old. Because once you learn how to put on a jury case, then you're never afraid of settling any type of disputes in court and in trial, because you can do trials. And so there's nothing better than that as far as that experience. But again, I guess my point of that was, if you have that experience in the courtroom, the literal courtroom, all the people especially the lawyers, once you get out into your own, the lawyers will know that you know your way around the courtroom, and send you work, and send you, like I said, either the appearance work or small stuff that they don't want to deal with. So again, that's going to be how you make money in the beginning for sure. And then also, to my criminal defense friends, when you open up your own practice, it's going to be hard to sustain a whole practice on criminal defense work. Go into DUI work for sure, and drugs. And that's really, as far as my experience back then, I mean, it may differ, but my experience was that the DUI people and the drug people were the only people who had money to hire me. Sure, there's hundreds and hundreds of crimes every year, but most of those people are getting free lawyers from the public defender's office because they can't afford it. So if you do criminal defense work, you're going to it'll be a heavy dose of DUI cases and drug cases. So I would suggest learning a different, one other practice area. I learned personal injury work back in 2003, and I'm glad I did. But again, it's hard to do a whole criminal defense practice for solely. I mean, I know people who do it. A lot of people do the contracts. They get contracts from the city of Phoenix or the city of Scottsdale, or the county, and basically the county will send them cases for overflow work, which is really just public defender work. I mean, once the public defender's office has too many cases, then they send it out, the overflow work, to these private lawyers who accept them, who are on the panel. I wouldn't do that. I've never done that. I know a lot of my friends who do it, and it's definitely a good, it makes them sleep at night because they can pay for their overhead and all that. But to me, it was just kind of like being in the public defender's office again, and so it's like, why go through all that? But again, that's an option. But again, I don't suggest that. Just go out on your own and just do it. You'll be fine on your own without a contract. Number 5 is don't pay for any type, especially early on, and probably never, but don't pay these thousands and thousands of dollars for these marketing firms who call you every day, every week. They email you every day. If you're on LinkedIn, that's all you get. But don't pay for any type of marketing service. The reason why is because, well, first of all, the email newsletter is the best possible marketing tool for a small firm, or really any big firm, but it's the most affordable for a small firm. So you're going to make sure that you do a monthly or a weekly email list to your friends. Make sure you do that. But also, just again, the cautionary tale is that when these people call you and tell you that they can get you to the top of Google on page one for $15,000 a month, don't do it. It's not gonna work unless you have hundreds of thousands of dollars to throw at it. It's not going to work, because I mean, you can just look at it right now. You can go on Google right now. You can see there's only 3 or 4 people at the top of page one. And again, and then the people these marketing firms who are calling you, telling you that they can do that, they're, sometimes, I guess most of the time they're doing with paid ads. And so again, you have to pay them for the service, and then you got to pay Google for the AdSense or whatever, the AdWords. You have to pay them to get your firm up on the page one as close as you possibly can. And again, that's an auction, and I'm sure you know what it's like. But I think at the current rate, the personal injury anyway here, it might be like $300 a click. And so, I mean, and again, that's literally if you see that ad on Google at the top, if somebody clicks on that ad, that's $300 to that law firm who's advertising on there. So it's incredibly expensive. And so, but not necessary. Again, you're not going to. You'll be much better off by just sending out a newsletter to your list of people who know that you have a law practice here in town, and and you're sending out the email newsletter. The reason why the email newsletter is so good is because you're just letting people know regularly that you're out there, and if they ever need a lawyer, they'll hopefully remember you because you just sent a newsletter a couple weeks ago. That's the whole point of it, because we're in a crisis business. We're in the business where people hardly never need us, and hopefully for their sake they never need us. But if they do, you want to make sure that they remember that you're out there. So that was number 5. Just don't pay for any expensive marketing. The only thing you really need is a email newsletter, and you'll be able to get business. Number 6, the most important piece of equipment besides your phone and your computer is going to be a scanner. In 2022, not much is done by physical mail with real paper. Everything's done by email. Your faxes are done by email. I can't remember the last time I had to really print out something. So make sure you have a good scanner. I bought a scanner back in 2014, maybe 15, something. So I was a little bit late coming to this, but right now you're going to need a scanner because everything is electronic, obviously. So again, make sure you get yourself a good scanner for your office equipment, and that's really it. And like I said, you don't really need anything else. And which that brings me to point number 7. You don't. Well, point number 7 and point number 1 are kind of like connected, and it's what I talked about earlier. You don't. Point number 7 is you don't need an office. You don't need a website. You don't need business cards. You don't need an office phone. You don't need any of that stuff when you first start. What you need is a paying client. You need somebody who's going to pay you for legal services. And so once you kind of get going, then again, this is being recorded in 2022. You really don't need an office. You can get any type of office share where you can go in and meet people in a conference room. You get your mail delivered there. You can use their delivery services, all that stuff. You can do that in 2022 and have a remote law firm. You don't have to go into the office and sit down at a desk and pick up the office phone and have the office. And again, back when I first started, I had an office phone, and some company charged me $300 a month for this elaborate office phone and messaging and three-way and all that stuff. All that's not necessary anymore. All you need now is your cell phone. Really, if you're going out on your own, you just use your cell phone for your business. And again, this is different from back when I first started, because I remember back 20 years ago we would always say we would never let anybody call our cell phones. It was always kind of like the office was one thing and personal was another thing. But now it's not the same. This is 2022. You're going to get texts from clients. You're going to get social media messages from clients. It's different now in 2022. So again, all you need is just your cell phone for your phone. Eventually get yourself business cards, but you don't have to spend a ton of money. I mean, I'm almost embarrassed to say it. Well, I am embarrassed to say it, but I spent probably $500 on business cards way back in the day. I had them engraved, and I thought that's just what you're supposed to do. And I also had engraved letterhead too, which is another $500 piece. So I think it was like $500 for like for 250 pieces of paper with my law firm engraved on the top of it. Just crazy. Again, none of that's necessary. I have never had a client say that we're not going to go with your firm because you don't have engraved letterhead or anything like that. So again, just whatever you get your business cards from Vista Print, you're going to be fine. And again, your letterhead, you can just print it out on the printer if you need it. Again, never mind. Fine. And again, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's people get, that they don't need. Because I've had friends over the years, obviously, who've went out on their own, and they're saying, they're almost ready to open up their doors because they just got their file cabinet or something. I mean, it's just kind of stuff that's completely not necessary. But the website also, I mean, yeah, you want to have a website, but I know some lawyers who are super successful who don't even have a website. So keep that in mind. But you probably want to have a website in 2022, just so that people know that you're kind of legit, or not legit, but you're real, I guess, because a lot of people could contact your website. And you'll find out, like what I found out, and you'll see it written on my website also, is that most of the people who go to your website, especially if you're small, have already met you. They already know you, so they're just kind of double checking with the website. And so but that's why you kind of need it, though. You kind of need it to show that you have one. It's 2022, for crying out loud. But that's, again, that comes later. I mean, and again, you can spend $5,000, $10,000 for somebody to build your website. Or you can find somebody much cheaper and just get a basic website, just again to have your place on the internet, so that when people check you out, it's there. It doesn't have to be anything too elaborate. You don't want it to be old. You don't want it to be like it's right out of 2005 or something like that. And you want to make sure that it's, I still see lawyers' websites who they're not mobile responsive, that you can't see them on your phone. You have to enlarge it on the phone. And so again, make sure your website is for phones, because 70% of people nowadays are looking at stuff on phones, including your website. So that's really all you need, but you don't need to spend $10,000 to have somebody design your website, that's for sure. So those are the seven things that I would suggest. Again, if you're sitting right now in a law firm and you hate it and you want to go out on your own, which you should, because they've always said that the happiest lawyers out there, if there are happy lawyers, are the ones who work for themselves. And so go out on your own, and if you do go out on your own, remember these 7 things. Come back to this video. Again, these are 7 things that you'll need to keep in mind when you start your own law firm. And just to review real quick, the number 1 thing is to have the mindset that the only thing that's important, the only thing that matters is getting a paying client. Number 2 is tell everybody that you're opening your law firm, especially 10 or 15 people who know everybody, who are the kind of the mayors of your social media, your mayors of your friends list. Make sure that they know that you're going on your own. And then likewise, number 3, make sure all your lawyer friends know that you're going out on your own, because they're going to be the ones referring you business through your whole career. Number 4, get some trial. Well, number 4, one of the ways you'll get money when you first start is doing contract work or overflow work for other lawyers who send you work. So kind of like I said before, if you can get some trial experience so that the lawyers who send you to court, they'll know that you know what you're doing down there. Number 5 is don't pay for an expensive marketing company. Definitely not early on, because you can just look at Google and see it's just not worth it. You'll just waste money, trust me. Likewise, also, I didn't mention this earlier, but all mass advertising, this is not 2020, it's not 2002, 2003, where bus ads or billboard ads or television ads or radio ads, you don't have to spend money on those things in the beginning. I mean, unless you have millions of dollars to throw at it, then fine. But most of us don't, and only a few people do. So don't waste your time on that. Instead, just pay the $25 a month on a good newsletter provider and send out a newsletter every month. That's going to be much better. Number 6, make sure you buy a scanner, and that's going to be the most useful piece of equipment in your office. And then number 7, all the things that you just don't need when you first start, including an office, including a website, things like that. So hope that helps. Again, I really hope that you go out on your own. I mean, it's not easy, but it's not hard either. I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years. And so if I can do it, you can do it. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. My email's on my newsletter. On my website. My website's woodforklaw.com. Please leave me any questions or comments. Leave me any questions or comments underneath this video. In the description, I'll put the book, Ready, Fire, Aim, I think it's called. I'll definitely put that book in there and read it. And anybody who's watching this, any business owners watching this, I think that can help you understand the mindset of a business owner as far as what's important and what's not. And then also, like I said, any lawyers watching this who are out on their own, please leave a comment. Let me know what you suggest, also what you found. If you've been doing it for 20, 30 years, whatever, let me know what you would add. Also, obviously, this is just a general overview of what I can come off of kind of the top of my head that's helped over the last 20 years, but I hope that helps. So anyways, thanks for watching, or thanks for listening, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.